Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 2nd. It's June. It's 2025. And it's late. But I wanted to make this video. I've been working on my truck all day, shockingly enough. But I wanted to make this video because this stuff came across me and I just had to do this. So here we go. I'm tired too. It's late, but I got to do this.
What you are seeing is not real.
How can you distinguish the truth from a lie?
They used to say seeing is believing. But you can't trust your eyes.
I mean, what's going on? What if this artificial intelligence is leading us towards a very dark place?
The world is about to be plunged into a time of deception unlike anything that has ever been seen before, and I don't think people realize it.
If you ask me, this is the end. These are like the last days and something big is coming.
Humanity has just driven off the edge of a cliff, and we are now plummeting at a very high rate of speed towards certain destruction.
I am not real.
So exactly what I've been warning you about for the last year, now the mainstream is finally caught on. Finally. Because this AI is getting out of hand to the point where they have to address it. They can't ignore it anymore. And here's the beauty part. They're still saying that the AI is acting just like humans.
But what's unfolding now is far more frightening. The machines have not gone rogue. They're just becoming frighteningly competent at pretending to be human. And that's the scariest part.
The past year has seen rapid developments in AI video created by artificial intelligence from just a few text instructions. Until now, the video, which has been getting increasingly realistic, was only visual. But this week, Google launched a version which includes audio, as our AI correspondent 𝗦𝗵𝗿𝗏 reports. It's been hailed for its realism, but it's raised concerns about how we're supposed to tell what's real and what's not.
None of these clips are real. They're produced by generative AI. They've been created by a new video generation model from Google. It has a vital filmmaking trick up its sleeve.
We can talk.
No more silence.
Yes, we can talk.
We've got used to seeing AI-created video, but adding dialogue or making characters speak or adding sound has required the use of several different bits of software. This AI model, called Veo3, does all of the work, creating sound and vision after receiving simple typed instructions or prompts.
There's all these fears around AI, but with Hollywood and filmmaking and commercials and all these things, yeah, everyone's like, am I going to have a job in 2 years?
Well, it's not acting just like humans. It's acting exactly like what it is. It's fallen angels. They're basically using AI as a telephone 24/7. I've been telling you this for years, since D-Wave showed up. And Jordy Rose said, these things that we're summoning into the world right now, the great old ones, aren't going to give a shit about you like you don't care about an ant.
Things that we're summoning these things that we're summoning into the world now are not demons, they're not evil, but they're more like the Lovecraftian great old ones. There are entities that are not necessarily going to be aligned with what we want.
This is getting so utterly out of hand that it's already done, and they're just rushing. They're just falling all over themselves. AI robot guys, every single solitary day, daily, they're coming out with everything we just told you about the AI-powered robots yesterday. It's twice as good today, and that's been going on for months, at least since I've been home, because they're done. They're ready. And the scariest thing about this stuff that's completely made up is you're not going to be able to tell what's real anymore, whatsoever at all. So they can say that a pandemic has struck and show a bunch of people in Nebraska dying and falling over, and you will not know if it's real. We're at that point. This is insanity. I never thought I'd live to see this. But here we are, right now. You see what I'm saying? And this is something else that they're talking about, where Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, came out and said, we're going to be the last generation that dies. We won't be dying anymore. Does that remind you of a biblical verse where men will seek death, but death will flee from them? These guys are openly stating this now, that they are the last generation. So am I still crazy? Am I still crazy for telling you this entire time? I've given people at least a 15-year head start to get themselves ready in every possible way. Biblically, spiritually, financially, survival-based, everything. I've given people every head start there possibly is, and now people are asking me, what do we do? I've been telling you for 15 years. This is just the absolute top of the pyramid. This is occurring right now. This is crazy times we're finding ourselves in. And do you remember this national blueprint for biodefense I just talked about the other day? Well, exactly like the Great Reset, etc., these guys have their own website and their own YouTube channel, and they've been explaining exactly what's going to happen in their plan for July 4th, 2025, hypothetically. Well, let me explain something to you. They cannot spread a disease other than injecting it to you. Somebody said, oh, my kids got chicken pox all at the same time, Richie. I'm a mother. I know about these things, blah, blah, blah. Well, here's the deal. Children get chicken pox relatively at the same time. It's a biological clock inside of you. If these guys could spray a biological agent on us, they would. But instead, they've tricked us into taking what? Jabs, vaccines, the shot. Do you see what I'm saying? Does it make sense? But if they want to have a biological outbreak, let me remind you of something that got my channel taken down originally on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? It's Richie from Boston. It's the 23rd. It's July. It's the year 2020, and you probably thought I forgot about you today, but I didn't. I was supposed to do you remember back when this first started and the 5G people were like, it's 5G, 5G is what's killing everybody, and I kept saying, no, that's not the deal. Stop saying that, because nothing's killing anybody. They're simply lying. Do you see what I mean? And then YouTubers made really good videos explaining how 5G can constrict your oxygen levels and give you symptoms that they were claiming were COVID-19. Well, the reason they're dragging this out is this. You see this article from PubMed.gov, 5G technology and induction of coronavirus in skin cells. These are all the doctors that wrote for this. In this research, we show that 5G millimeter waves could be observed by dermatological cells acting like antennas. How many times have you heard me say barium, strontium, aluminum are exactly what you would use if you wanted to turn a living, breathing being into a walking antenna? Well, according to the doctors, 5G millimeter waves could be absorbed by dermatologic cells acting like antennas, transferred to other cells, and play the main role in producing coronaviruses in biological cells. DNA is built from charged electrons and atoms, blah, 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 blah. But long story short, you see this article right here? I've had this for a couple of days, but I wanted to get this article to show you first. These guys are going to keep stretching this out because they're not done putting the 5G up, like I've told you I don't know how many times. Do you know how I know this? Because I drive around the United States in a really old truck with a bunch of cameras, and I look, and I look, and I talk to everybody. It isn't up yet. It isn't up yet. So they're going to keep stretching this story out as long as they possibly can, so when they do flip on the switch and people do start getting sick, they can say, see, it's the coronavirus. It's not the 5G Antichrist system that's working with the biometric vaccine that we're forced everybody to get. You see where we're going with this? This isn't people on YouTube telling you this. This is the National Library of Medicine. This is PubMed.gov telling you this stuff. And yet, it continues to move forward. No one seems to care. It's no big deal whatsoever at all. A new paper published in the Journal of Biological Regulators and Hemostatic Agents posit there may be a unique, causally connected relationship between millimeter wave exposure and coronavirus. Well, I am totally shocked. Well, Richie, that's exactly how they're going to get their bio attack. They're going to crank up the frequencies to some specific point because now they have AI completely running everything. AI wasn't running everything back in COVID. You know what I mean? Not like it is now. AI is running everything. So every single solitary thing they need to do is up and running, and they're going to pull off an event. Whether it's on the 4th of July, be ready, or sometime after that. Who knows? But every time they talk about this, this is literally Event 201, Part 2 all over again. And they've already got their YouTube channel up. It's already up and running. They're all discussing it, blah, blah, blah. Tom Ridge, the same guy that was behind 9/11 and going to Iraq, is the one that's running this or co-chairing it. Well, actually, I think he's the chair. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just that they're putting the same bad actors into the same bad roles to do bad things to people. This is going to get absolutely, utterly insane. Utterly insane. So be ready for this. You know, people like hit me up. What's a good mask to get? Are you not hearing what I'm saying? Are you not hearing the words coming out of my mouth? COVID wasn't a bioweapon. They don't have bioweapons. If they had bioweapons, they would have used them by now. That's why they have to coerce you into getting a jab and another jab and another jab and another jab. They're going to do the same thing all over again, and they're going to make people sick on a mass scale like we have never seen before, using all these towers and probably whatever else is up in the sky with the Starlink now, because Elon's launching all sorts of things up there, calling it Starlink, and we're seeing all sorts of different effects. So who knows? Do you see what I'm saying? Does that make sense? My neighbor reminded me last night, if there weren't so many clouds, we'd be able to see the northern lights. And I said, I don't want to have anything to do with man-made things. And I told people, pay attention. HAARP is up and running. If they're creating northern lights all the way down here, that's HAARP. And guess what happened? I warned people on the West Coast that they could use HAARP because HAARP can make earthquakes and HAARP can set off volcanoes. And guess what happened the same night?
Italy's Mount Etna started erupting again earlier today, sending panicked tourists running for safety. Take a look at these images.
Incroyable. Tout le monde est en panique, tout le monde descend.
Officials say the eruption sent a plume of ash and rock several kilometers high into the sky. And you can see those images there, those tourists running and producing explosions that could be heard up to 50 kilometers or 30 miles away. The Sicilian Civil Protection Agency is warning all aircraft to avoid the area. CNN's Bobby Nadeau is following the story for us from Rome. I mean, these images are, I have to say, pretty scary. And you can see the tourists reacting, trying to run away. Do we know anything about evacuations at this point in terms of danger that it could pose to neighboring villages?
Yeah, you know, these villages that are up and down the flanks of Mount Etna are used to this kind of activity, and so you know they're not easily terrified from the mountain, from the erupting mountain. But they will have to evacuate them if there is intense activity that's continuing. And the observatory that keeps a close eye on this said that they feel that the activity is intensifying, and they can't be sure when it will calm down. But they did evacuate, you know, tens of tourists, all these groups of tourists. We talked to one tour operator who had 40 people up there, and they were able to get all of them off. And there are maybe a dozen tour operators, we were told, running operations at the time. Also important to note, this is a long holiday weekend. Today's a national holiday here, so there would have been even more people and kids up there too. But you know, they got everyone to safety off the mountain. But no one who was up there was expecting this sort of intense explosion. Usually, what we see from Etna is the more fiery lava flows, and we've been seeing an intensity of that over the last couple of months too. So this was a surprise to everyone, and it was heard, you know, so far away. They haven't had to close the airport in Catania yet because the wind is favorable, but the minute or if that wind switches direction, they'll have to close the airport because that plume of smoke so many kilometers up is really hazardous to aircraft. Eleni.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is that Mount Etna is one of the most active volcanoes in the world. And it's such a show, right? If you're a tourist, I saw some people taking videos and photos, but it is dangerous. And there's a real process in terms of monitoring and ensuring that its activity is under control in some way.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of seismic activity or these earthquakes. I've been up Etna many, many, many times over the last 10, 15 years, and it is always a magical experience. It is just amazing. And you can take some of these tours that take you very close to the top, where you have to wear special shoes because the ground is so hot. But it is really, really dangerous. And I think, there are so many tour groups that bring people up because they just want to get close to this incredible, force of nature. But, we're so constantly reminded that it's very unpredictable. And, they've been watching the seismic activity. What's interesting, though, there wasn't an increase of seismic activity in terms of earthquakes, where we had seen there were some eruptions in January that led to these incredible lava sprays. And there had been more earthquakes and seismic activity ahead of those. So, people are looking at the data, trying to understand what the projections are. But, you can't predict an eruption of an earthquake or an eruption of a volcano or the intensity or when an earthquake will happen. So all of this is really up to looking at trends and studying the data and hoping that they're making the right future calls.
Absolutely. Barbie Nadeau, thank you so very much for that update. Interesting pictures there from Sicily, Mount Etna.
I hate to be the one to say it. And by the way, today is June 3rd. I started this video last night, but here I am right now. And yes, I look the same. It is what it is. But they're breaking out. They're pulling out all the stops. Things are going to get insane. And like I told you, my ears ringing and the pressure on my skull since I got here is absolutely, utterly insane. It's never been like this before. Maybe it was being on the road so long. I was away from it for so long. But then again, this always plays into it. Nothing to see here. Keep it moving. Everything's fine. Blah, blah, blah. Notice how these are all just kind of helping this thing go in whatever direction they want it to go in. And some people don't understand what these are, these blossoms, these blooms. There's a little pinpoint, then it turns into one of these big blue things like that. That's the frequency. That's the frequency being given off. And they're basically saturating the entire state of Illinois. Kentucky is almost entirely engulfed. Georgia. I mean, look at this stuff, man. This is just insane, but that's probably what I'm feeling right now, and I've never felt it like this before. At any rate, guys, be ready, because they are absolutely doing this. This biodefense thing has all the earmarks of Event 201 to a T. And it's even giving a date of July 4th, 2025. Do I think something's going to happen? I hope not, because I don't know if I'm going to be ready and out of here by then. But it is what it is, It totally is what it is. At any rate, Richie from Boston. I'll leave links below. Real quick, I want to say thank you to all the people trying to help me reach this goal. I'm at 71% right now. And like I said, we'll be doing meetups and then drawings for 2 VIP tickets to the 𝗬𝗠𝗏 August 22nd, 23rd down in Cave Creek, Kentucky, of which I will be a speaker along with all these other people. You'll see, I'll leave a link below. I can't rattle these guys off the top of my head because I only know a few of them. At any rate, Richie from Boston, they're not messing around. Agenda 2030 is their goal, and they're letting out all the stops. This is getting insane. They're literally releasing AI programs from Google. Google, don't be evil, Google. They're releasing where they can make, they can do this. What is the point of this? We're not going to know what's real. We're not going to know what to believe, what to trust. This is insane. What is the point of this? All this is to deceive, period. There's no other purpose for it. It makes no sense. It's going to put Hollywood, YouTubers, it's going to put everybody out of business because AI can crank this out way faster than anybody else can. But AI doesn't care about this. They're going to use this to distract, entertain, and keep us busy while they keep doing what they're doing right now. And that is, they need to wipe out 9 out of 10 Americans in 2025. That was their goal. That was Deagle. That hasn't changed. It hasn't gone anyplace. And then they need Agenda 2030 where they clean up the mess. We're in a really crazy place right now. And you need to pray to God for spiritual discernment more than you ever have before. I can't believe that I was right on this entire thing because it sounded so crazy, and yet here we are. Richie from Boston, and I'm out.